Welcome back to our series on data handling for statistics. I'm Mark Ledbetter, and this is going to be code along number 15 or lecture video 15. All right, last time we started talking about R Markdown or .rmd files in RStudio. So we're going to do a new file, new file, and come down to R Markdown, and we'll give this whatever title we want. Let's say code along 15. And then we're going to click PDF here, and we're going to say OK. Now, this does not save it, and in the last video, I did not tell you how to save, so let's go ahead and save this. We'll do File, Save As, and then I'm going to name this Code Along 15. So let's start over, File, Save As. Notice that it says all files. There is no file extension down here. That means you have to type in the extension or else, or it will just be a file with no type, and that is not good. Changing the type of a file can corrupt the file. So we don't want to do that. So we want to name it the right thing to start with. So I'm going to say code. You can name it whatever you want within reason, as long as it's not mean or something. And I'm going to call this 15, and then I have to type period, the dot, RMD. Make sure you have it in the right order, or else it will ruin everything inside your file. So we say save. You'll notice that we have grayed out chunk of code here, and we have white, and then we have another grayed out chunk of code, and then white, and then grayed out chunk of code, and then white for text. Okay, so it's very important that we save it as a .rmd, or else let's see what happens when we do it wrong. So you please don't do this unless you just make sure you delete it afterwards. So I'm going to say File, Save As, and now I'm going to type it as just R. Okay? Just R. Look what happened. This is an error now because our script doesn't know what to do with these three hash marks here. Or I forget what you call them, but they're three marks. Okay. So, so I'm going to delete this file so I don't accidentally use it in the future. Okay, so by having the RMD file, I need to open that back. So the RMD file, it knows how to handle chunks of code. So before we get to the chunks of code, let's talk about this Yaml front matter. Okay. And so I have some other files open. Notice when I start modifying this, it turns red to indicate that there are unsaved changes, and there's an asterisk at the end. If there are no changes since the last time it was saved, then the title shows up in black letters. So let's look at this one first. Now, this was from my Stat 325 class. You do not need to type all this. Okay, this is just for you to see. When I first tried to look into an error that I was having with the output of this file, I did a Google search and I found a solution, and it had me in this front matter under PDF. They had me put includes in header, and then this preamble.txt. This is a file that has to be placed in the exact same directory as this file in order to work. And in this file, I will open it up. It tells me to use a package called caption. It gives some options to caption, and then it gives me, most importantly, the thing that I was trying to solve, the package called float. Now these are not R packages. These are, I will type it, LaTeX packages. I can't save this because that would cause an error, but these are called LaTeX packages. Now, why do we say tech? Pronounced. You don't have to type this again. This is just so that you understand what I'm saying. Pronounced LaTeX. Okay? So that's how we say it. Because if we said latex, that's like latex gloves, and everyone would be confused. But so everyone I know pronounces this latex. And so if I say latex, everybody knows that I mean the language latex, not the gloves or material type. Okay? So I am not going to save this. Okay. Close without saving. Okay. So this is a little more difficult to use. We're not going to use this method because it requires that you have this preamble.txt file, a file actually named preamble.txt, saved in the same directory. So every time you go to a different directory, you'd have to copy and paste this file over there, or else it would not, it would error, or it just would ignore this command and not do what we want it to do. And we'll get into that a little bit later. Okay, so this is what I do want you to type. So I'm going to copy and paste this and then give you a moment to, so Control copy, Control C, and let's see, that was from under date. So, all right. So let's go over what we're doing here. So under date, we're going to type header dash includes colon. It's extremely important that you do this exactly as I have it here, or else it will cause an error or may cause an error. I would go with will cause an error. That's usually the case. Now, this is 2 spaces, 1, 2, okay? Now, in RStudio, 2 spaces become, because it's the same value set up for tabs, it becomes a tab. So one thing here, okay? Then a dash. Notice that this dash is kind of a maroon color. I don't know if you can see it on the software I'm using to record this, but this is a maroon color. And then I have a backslash, use package, all one word. Then I've got the curly brackets, okay? And inside that float. This is a LaTeX package called float. And then we have float placement and curly brackets table. So we're talking about the float placement of a table object. And then we have this capital H, which means put it here, exactly here. Little h gives it a little more flexibility, and that means the program decides where to put your table. That's a bad thing. It can be way early or way later than you want it to be. By doing this, it puts it exactly where you say to put it, which is by typing that code, chunk of code. And then for figures, it's doing the same thing. So we have the same thing, we just put figure. So I take this, I copy, I paste it to here, and I change table to figure, and I'm done. And then we have use package caption, and then this changes the caption on our figures. And so the justification is ragged right, so that means it's not quite all the way to the right, but close. And then single line check equals false, so that means that it doesn't require your caption to be one line only. This means it should wrap for us, but we'll have to be careful and see if it wraps. If it doesn't, there's an easy way to make it wrap. Okay. And then under output, I have put PDF. That's the one that I want to use. And then there's LaTeX engine and PDF LaTeX. We can change this. There is another one, global options, and this is R Markdown or SWeave. So you could use XE LaTeX. Okay. Regardless of which one you choose here, this is overriding it to PDF LaTeX. Okay. So If PDF LaTeX doesn't work for you, okay, and notice that they're ignoring capitalization because tech is not very case sensitive, but R is. So you could change it to XE LaTeX if you're having trouble with PDF LaTeX. Okay, cancel. Then we have a figure height, fig underscore height, fig underscore width 5 and 7. I want you to put these in here for now. What it does is it limits your figure height, or it forces your figure height to that exact dimensions. That way they're all the same, but this can create some problems. It can also help. So, and then we have Word document. So I want you to do this as well. So if you choose how to compile this, we have different ways. See up here under knit, if we click on the arrow, that's important, and it says knit options, then we can choose any one of these three. By putting this here, we have specified what to do when we choose PDF. This specifies what to do when we have chosen Word, and this specifies what to do when we have chosen HTML. You'll notice that there's several options here. TOC is table of contents, and it's true. Notice that the true is a different shade of blue, and it's lowercase. It's not all uppercase like we have to use an R. And talk float, that means that we can float the table of contents, and they put true here, and that's fine. And then code folding, we're saying show the code folding, and then we have the figure heights and width. Okay? And finally, we have editor options, and that's for how it appears when we run the code before we compile it using knit. We don't use knit until we've gotten everything just the way we want it. Okay? So make sure that you go ahead and get all this typed in, and then type in YAML front matter above for all files. Okay? And so save this as whatever you want to name it for yourself, and then submit this for code along 15. Okay, please take care of yourself and stay safe, because we want to see you here for the next video.